Tonight on Toy DOMination, we're here to talk to Sky Station and play some games. Right. With me, as always, host of the show, Dom.
Hi, what's up? Thanks for having me.
Hi. And I'm Joe, also co-host, I guess.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, hi. How's it going? It's a live stream on a Sunday. It's weird for us. This is a weird thing. We don't do this.
It's weird, but you know what? It's totally worth it because we got somebody awesome about tonight.
That is correct. And his name is Skybob. Hey, man. How you doing?
Hello. How's everybody today?
We're great. Really glad we could finally have you on. I think you and I have been chatting for like months of like, hey, how about, I'll catch you. I can't do Thursday. Like just this passing back and forth. So finally we're able to pin down a time that works, and we're really glad to have you on tonight.
Yes, thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, I mean, come on now.
Appreciate that.
After last show, I asked her, I was like, hey, do you actually like it? When we, at the beginning of the episode, we say, hey, these are all the people in the chat. Everyone, even the guests I had on were like, yes. So we're going to say hey to some folks in the chat real quick here. So we got Bjorn Jorgensen with Schmebulok, 10 points for anybody who can get that reference. I think I've already spoiled it now. Utah Don, technically you were the first one in, but because
11:18 a.m. from Bjorn.
Yeah. Starboy Station, catch him on Rad Galaxy, did a good interview too. And then Rad Galaxy, speak of it, Devil Dystopia Playgrounds. Joey Adams is here, everybody.
Hey, Joey.
Timbo Toys, Task Force Figures and Games. I always skip the figures piece in there. What's up, buddy? Hey, Joe, we need to do a better job. So Brian here said, instead of fans or followers, we have citizens. We need to do a better job of saying, hey, our favorite citizens. We need to start roping that in.
Of the Toy DOMination.
Yeah. So, and then we got Famine Studios. Yes. And Adrian Forbes. Ooh. Devastation. Yes. And Pirates of the Galaxy. And Bjorn's coming to his defense saying it counts. So.
It counts. All right. Well, I mean, as a citizen of the Toy DOMination nation, I think he's right.
Oh, and Emma Rose. And it's going to keep going here. So before I forget, I did a thing. I made a poll for the chat. So those in the poll on YouTube, it should be there. I asked you all who the final boss of tonight should be. So don't let me forget, because I will. And then Joe, you're going to pull it up towards the end here when I say, hey, okay, here comes the final boss, right? So they get to choose who the final boss is for tonight. And let me not forget Outer Multiverse here too. So yeah, it's just going to keep growing here. So, okay, we're going to do something a little bit different here. We're going to start tonight with a game, and we're going to pull in Skybottom as we play. But I can't help myself, because right before we started, and I heard this on Rad Toy Galaxy's interview too, right before we started, I was talking to Sky, and we were talking about X-Wing miniatures. And like, your journey to toy collecting, I feel, is very, very unique. So tell me what you were talking about backstage before we started here, because I think that's extremely unique.
So about 3 years ago, my significant other, she purchased me a Monopoly board, and it was a Star Wars Monopoly board. And she found it and she brought it home, and I just thought it was cool. I always liked toys, but I just stopped collecting toys. But I always had, a toy heart inside of me. So when I opened up that Monopoly board, I realized that I wanted to switch the Monopoly game pieces with actual Star Wars miniatures. So I was trying to find Star Wars micro machines, and then I ended up finding Star Wars X-Wing. And I thought the X-Wing miniatures were better because of the detail.
Oh, yeah, the detail was incredible.
Yeah. So I ended up buying a few of the Star Wars X-Wing miniatures and realized that it was an actual game. And I was intrigued by it because I'm into games. I like Magic the Gathering and tabletop games. So seeing Star Wars X-Wing being a game, I ended up having to make my own squadron. And that's when I created Black Nova Squadron. And I wanted to pose my X-Wing miniatures with actual TIE fighter pilots. And that's when I was on Amazon searching for a TIE fighter pilot. And then I was trying to find TIE fighter pilots in 3.75. And then I ended up finding one in 6-inch. So I started buying 6-inch figures. And that's how it led. It just led from a Monopoly board to wanting to swap out the game pieces for actual X-Wing pieces, and it just kept evolving.
How long before you realized what an inferior game Monopoly is to the X-Wing game?
Oh man, when I started playing Star Wars X-Wing, I thought that was going to be my career. I was like, you know what, I'm going to be a Star Wars player. This is what I'm gonna do. I just love the game. And then when I started collecting those figures, that same passion that I had for X-Wing, it just latched on to toy collecting into world building.
Joe, I think that's a first of when I started collecting toys was story based on Monopoly. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say like it started from Monopoly and then led this way. Like that journey.
So what did you collect when you were younger then? Because you did mention like when you were younger.
So when I was younger, I still collected Star Wars toys. I had Power of the Force. I was collecting.
That's solid. But you dipped way out of that, and then you were into like gaming. Okay, exactly. So that makes more sense. Starting with a game and then working backwards to toys is a little
right.
Yeah.
So initially coming from toys and leaving it behind, and then returning to it, it's not that strange. Not that strange.
Exactly.
Do you have any Powers of Force? Did they work their way into the station?
Well, my original toys from back in the day, they are just scattered out throughout the multiverse. They're gone. I don't know where they are.
I have boxes and other people's backyards.
Yeah. But I do have some pieces of figures from my childhood, like old McDonald's toys. And I do have some older figures, but they're not 3.75. But I still have some toys from my childhood that are still within the station somewhere.
That's I feel you on that X-Men game because I was playing that. Gosh, I don't remember. Somebody bought a lot somewhere for like $100, and it's like $600 worth of stuff. So from that, we were all able to just divvy it out and like, oh man, and like my go-to are TIE Fighter swarms. I absolutely love like having 9 TIE Fighters out there and just scurrying across the board. That game is, and the best gimmick of that game is you all put your dials face down.
Right.
And you don't know what the other pilot's going to do until you reveal it. That suspense of like, here it comes. Did I angle it right? Am I going to? I loved that. Unfortunately, the people I played with, because I move all the time, so I'm like, man, so it's still sitting over there. But those are really cool small toys. Like they are amazing. They are. Yeah, pre-painted.
Have you seen those same people that get the fiber optics and put all the little lights? In Star Destroyers and stuff, like it's crazy. Yeah. I was like, oh my god, you're out of your mind. Anyway, I mean, I love customizing stuff, but like, man, that's on a miniature level that I like. No, thank you.
I just love being able to hear your journey too. Of like, well, I had the miniature, so I wanted a pilot to represent it. And that that just like tipped over into this like, well now, and as somebody said in the chat too, who's like, you've only been doing this for 3. Yeah, here it is, Utah. Now you've only been doing this for 3 years. Like,
that's
that
crazy.
speaks to what you've accomplished in the 3 years as far as your build process. So
I've actually built. I started building Skybottom June of 2021. So a little bit over 2 years. I've been building Skybottom, but I've been collecting. I started collecting toys again 3 years ago, and been building Skybottom for 2. But my first year of collecting toys, I was building for 6-inch figures, and it was a Star Wars world for 6-inch figures.
And then you started purging all those, right? You started just like downsizing and just steering into.
Yeah, I was on Instagram and I was trying to sell my Marvel Legends and some Black Series figures just so I could reinvest it back into Skybottom, because I know for a fact that I'm not going to ever have that passion for building 6-inch figures ever again. So I'm holding on to the 6-inch Marvel Legends and Black Series figures that I do want, like my Imperial Army. I'm always going to love my 6-inch Imperial Army, and I'm going to love my favorite Marvel character, Marvel Legends. But the rest of the bulk needs to go.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm staring for other collections right now too. Is like, hey, well, so my boys and I play with. Like, we just played a 6-inch battle today where there's like a prison. Well, we're not talking about that tonight, but anyways, we have some 6-inch figures we're still holding on to. But yeah, it's starting to creep towards the purge bin. Yeah. Hey, so there's a question here from Pirates saying, hey, do you all have personal avatars and what's their backstories? Let's pin that because we're going to show Sky's personal avatar during the game. I can answer for Joe right now. I don't have one for sure. Joe, do you count Rick?
No, not as a personal avatar. He's the one that I go to. He's like a character I fall back on for these types of scenarios because he kind of fits a mold where you can kind of like throw him around to different ideas.
But
Griffin would probably be my avatar.
That's a good. Oh, there you go. That's a good segue here to just show what Sky's avatar looks like here. He sent this fresh picture here of this really cool build. You can't see below, but I think there's a Marauder's legs on him on the bottom half, right?
Where?
The picture. Can you see it up there?
Yeah.
What
was your question?
Sorry, the bottom half of them got cut off. Those were Marauder legs, right?
Oh, actually, I'm not sure what legs these are. Someone else made this for me.
Okay, here, you got them on hand?
A friend of mine.
Here, you want to show them?
I don't know what legs these are, actually.
Yeah, those are Marauder legs. Yeah, for a Marauder Gun Raiders and Marauder Inc. Yep. Very cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Man, what is that rifle? That is amazing.
Yeah, so this rifle is from Acid Rain. It's from an Acid Rain.
Of course.
Yeah, my friend Sam Campos, he made this figure for me. He's from Hawaii, and he sent this over to Skybottom last week, and with the package of figures that I'm making a video on right now. So I don't want to go into too much detail, but this came with the care package. So that's why he
awesome. Man, that's awesome. Cool. So we'll get into a little bit of his backstory while we're actually start playing the game here. Yeah, people are saying Marauder's legs. Yeah. Okay. All right. Should we get cracking here? Should we get started on this then, I guess?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I haven't explained the rules to Joe or to you, and that's on purpose here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna set this stage with Joe's character here. Joe, you want to pull up your character real quick?
Certainly, my lord. His name is Rick.
All right, and then you picked so I pre-made these for you guys. So usually in the game, you can choose between a pre-made character. She's like, hey, I just want to pick up and play. I'll name them and go. Or you can actually take the time and put points in there and choose your abilities. But because you all are new, you don't know the rules, I just pre-made some stuff and we're running with it here. So a quick orientation. The top of the card with luck, that's your health. When your luck hits 0, we're actually going to roll on a death table, and you get to find out if you stay in the game or your character dies or you take a penalty. So until you get your character back up from 0, every time you're going to keep rolling on that table. The actions, you have 6. So in this case, you have 6 dice on your turn, and that determines. Yeah, there's the table. Ooh, 1 through 10, 2 dead, very very dead. So you have dice on your turn. You have 6 things. You get 6 actions you get to do. Moving is 1, and then look at the top right with your abilities. You get to free move and then do 2d6 attack, or a melee attack for 2d6 plus your agility dice, which are stats, right? So you get to do a little dice economy here, which is one of the biggest mechanics of the game. The surge is your free dice once a game that you can use anytime you want. Anytime, even not on your turn. Like when you're defending, you're like, hey, I'm going to use a surge dice just to throw 1 extra in there. The defense. That is your only defense dice you're rolling. So if, say, Rick came up and somehow he rolled like 4 dice and it was just against this card, it's only 2 defense. But if you still have dice in your pool, you can slide those over and burn them for your defense. So if you're like, oof, I don't want to just stick with 2 defense, I'm going to burn 2 more dice. So now I have 4 for better odds. But that comes out of your action economy to what you get to use. And if you've already spent all your dice, that's it. Your dice pool is empty. Does that make sense? That's the mechanics.
Okay.
All right. Movement is arbitrary. There's no measuring tape. It is everything on that you can see is in range, because this is only a 2 foot by 2 foot area. So if you can see something and have a ranged weapon, you can hit it. Movement is about a foot or half the distance of the board. So if you're trying to move half the distance of the board, that is where your one movement ends. There is no measuring. I want to cut out as much crunch as possible in this. Okay.
Should we bring the board up, Dom?
Not yet, because
okay.
First, Joe's character Rick is on approach coming in to Sky Bottom Station. So
no one's flying this ship.
It's the robots, Joe. The robots. Yeah. So as he's approaching Sky, what does he actually see when it says, like, if your nav computer comes up, it says bing, I'm now reaching Sky Bottom Station. What does he see when he looks out that cockpit?
So when he's looking out of the cockpit, he actually doesn't really see anything, because it's like it's a moon that is dark and there's no light that is shining on the moon. So he sees almost like a silhouette of something dark, like a dark sphere. And as we get closer to it, you can start to see colorful lights, like there is a population on it, but it's like a floating rock. So it doesn't really have its own type of, it's not glowing like a planet, so you might think it's like an asteroid, but as you get closer to it, that's when you start seeing city lights, dim lights, like, wait, there's life there. So it's almost like a giant rock, but a moon. Now it's its own planet. It's a rogue planet now.
Is it around a planet, or is it floating in nothing?
It's round.
Oh no, is it around a planet, or is it orbiting a planet, or is it by itself? Oh, okay.
It's just completely by itself.
All right. Hence the lack of light. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this was a very hard destination for him to find then, right? He can just pull up a real normal stellar map and be like, plot me a course to Sky Bottom.
Right. Yeah. You're not gonna find it on any map. So if you're going to Sky Bottom, it's because you know about it. Someone told you about it, or you've been there, or you have permission to go there. It's for no one to find,
Got it. Okay. And so in this case, Sky, your character, what is your character's actual name? Because I just put Sky Bottom in there. Did your avatar have a name?
Well, my real name is Sean, but Sky Bottom, that's just my nickname,
okay.
Because
that could be his call sign, basically. Then,
yeah, because as I've traveled throughout the multi-galactic trade route and through different planets, I'm from Sky Bottom, so people only know me by Sky Bottom. They say, "Oh, hey, they're Sky Bottom," because they've never met anybody from Sky Bottom except for me. So
okay.
I got the nickname Sky Bottom throughout my travels.
So to answer Pirates Galaxy, so this game is something Joe and I are designing. What we're doing right now with Sky, and everybody else is we're playtesting this with you all. I want to pull in a group of you all later on who are interested and actually play a full live stream. No interviews, no anything, just a full live stream of it. And Joe and I are actually working on designing, and he's doing the art for it. And we hope to publish this by the end of this year, 2024. Like, that is our goal, to be like, here you go. Here's a fun game that you can play solo by yourself, or co-op with a few friends, or player versus player as well. So there's 3 different ways to play this game here. So thank you for your interest. More to follow. And Sean, thank you for your patience of actually playing this play tested game here too. So.
Of course.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we're trying to make it a unique way to introduce Sky Bottom Station.
That's the other piece too. All right, so he's on approach. He comes into Sky Bottom Station. Then the point of contact that he has that told him where this location is you.
Yes.
So you're going to be waiting to receive him on the station itself, right?
Yeah.
Now, is there anything as he's Joe? Actually, do you want to ask some questions as your character?
Yeah. So as I'm approaching, is it like security? Is there people? Is there a lot of like, what's going, am I coming in and just landing, or is it somebody going like, what the hell is this ship going? Or what's your call sign?
Like an escort coming out?
Does an escort come out? Like, what's the level of like, I don't know, oversight, I guess is my question.
So pretty much, since you know me, I gave you the clear. And the thing about it, we don't have outsiders coming into Sky Bottom. So everyone that does come in has a purpose. So they know where to land, and it's not really like it's not really like a coordinated thing, because if you're coming in, you know about this place, and it's just like someone coming in regular. But as you do approach, we do have a couple of Imperial officers that are going to like guide you and ask for, identification, and they're going to make sure that you're supposed to be here and that you're cleared and stuff like that. But you're not going to see like a ship escort. We're not going to take over your ship and put it on autopilot and have it land in the Pacific area.
Okay. Is it these guys here watching me come in aside from your character?
You say what?
Is it these guys here watching me come in?
Oh, no. Those are I actually put them away.
So what do you use the Dark Troopers for in your station? I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, okay, so there was a Dark Trooper project that Moff Gideon was putting together. There was I guess you could say, word around the station Skybottom was coming home, and they wanted to have a surprise or a gift for me. So a Dark Trooper program was undergoing on Skybottom Station, so it was actually a gift for me. Me at Skybottom, I've never seen Dark Troopers. I don't really know what to do with them. I think it's a waste of a gift. I think it's cool, but Moff Gideon, these are the kind of gifts that you would get from Moff Gideon. So he just thought, hey, instead of a welcome home present,
that's awesome.
It's 6 Dark Troopers. So I'm just like, okay.
It's like a cocaine lord giving you a man-eating tiger. It's like, thanks, bro.
Right. Oh, okay, thanks. It was just a simple welcome home gift. I don't know what I'll do with them personally, but he told me I might need them.
Okay.
That dude just comes goose-stepping out to greet you with his black death troopers behind you. It's like, whoa. That's awesome.
All right.
Okay. So let's pull up the map here. Hopefully. So again, if this camera has any malfunctions or slows my bandwidth, I'm gonna bail and jump to my phone. But I think I worked out the kinks here. Okay, so here is the docking bay. All right. So you've got your character, and then Joe's character Rick, and then I guess because you said there's Imperial presence here, so I did put like an Imperial Customs officer there. But if that's incorrect, I can snatch her out and put just a regular Muldoon in there. Okay, great.
That's perfect.
So there are certain things that are going on this map here on this board. You'll see the little white squares. They're indicating that there are certain things that you can interact with. So, for example, these boxes, they provide cover if you need it. Again, movement is arbitrary. If you want to run the cover,
cove, Dominic.
Wait, hold on. There you go. You jump into the cove. So movement is arbitrary. So there's no distance to measure. You just say, hey, I'm going to go take cover there. And then in order to make sure you made cover, you roll a challenge, right? So any challenge, this is 1 here. Yeah. Or sorry, this challenge says 1. You're going to roll agility to make sure and see if you get 1 hit, which is a 4, 5, or 6 and a D6, you get to make cover. So the idea here is that you don't just say like, I make cover. You have some skill. You have to be able to make sure you know how to take cover. Right. And then you're going to be harder to hit. Now, if you want to interact with something, it takes an action to do that. So there's a crate over here that has a shotgun in it. There's a stim pack that's laying over. Let's get that back on camera. And that's not a stim pack is in healing. That's a stim pack is in the stimulant, and it gives you 3 boosted action points. So you just use it, burn an action to take that, and you get 3 actions. And then this lady here, she's got 3 squares of social next to her. So each of you are going to roll 2d6s because Sky, when you left here, you didn't exactly leave the station on the best terms, from my understanding. There's some rumors floating about you.
Right.
What are some of those rumors that hang about your absence and your return?
A lot of people called me a coward. They said that I left out of fear. They said that I left because I didn't want to take responsibility of what Skybottom was becoming. They said that I just wasn't fit for my role in leadership on Skybottom, and that's the reason why I left. But that's not true. Obviously, it's not.
Hmm.
They're just rumors.
So you both start to get the feel. Then it's like, hey, so this is supposed to be just an easy thing. We know where we are, or where Skybottom is. You should be able to come right in. It seems though you've created a bit of a power vacuum, and this, I guess, I don't know the Imperial ranks, so I'm just gonna say she's a lieutenant. Okay, like let's just move on. This lieutenant doesn't really just take the fact that you're Sky and just allow you to get away with that. So you both are going to roll a combined social check here. Both of you are going to use your rolls together to try and convince this person to let you pass without having to go through more scrutinization. If you fail, she's going to call out some goons. Are you guys ready?
Go ahead. Wait, does she know who I am though?
She does know who you are, but it doesn't seem to really impress her. In fact, it seems to be tipping her in the opposite direction.
Oh, okay, got it.
Now, I may be influencing some of your lore into this, but I have to work with some sort of confines in order to play a game. So if anything's radically different for you, like, hey, that would never happen, I'm like, let's just roll with it. Okay. But I want to get
after we're done playing the game, we can make all the corrections we need.
So let me make sure that I'm not overriding, right? Let's not make sure I'm not overriding your lore here. But you're right. Okay. Let me back up actually, because this would get interesting. Let me dance on my feet. Say she does recognize you, but you do have this stink about you of being a coward and leaving. Mm-hmm. Is this an honest interaction that she would have? Is she going to just move out of the way?
She might step up to me and call me out and be surprised that I actually had, I guess you could say, the word I'm looking for, but the
audacity,
right?
Audacity,
station and just act like I could just get past without, So
and now you're bringing this stranger in with you too. This isn't gonna pass muster. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you can say whatever you want to say. So the idea that this game is a very RPG light. The only RPG feel to this, because you could be playing this by yourself, so you don't have to have a DM, is that you come up with your own responses, but you're still rolling against a number, which allows you to play by yourself or against another party member who could be biased against you, right? So it's supposed to be DM agnostic, right? So you can say whatever you want to say if you want to role play. They're like, hey, I tell her this, but the end it's just going to come down to 2 simple dice rolls. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want to try and say what you would say to her? Do you want
to? Sure.
Yeah. What would you say? What would you try and bluff or intimidate or charm?
I would try to just charm her and just and just not intimidate, but just charm her.
Okay. Joe, give me my camera.
Gotcha.
All right, here we go. This is gonna be a Sky's roll. That's a 4. That's a success. A 3 is a fail. Rick, you see him trying to charm. She's kind of like, maybe. What do you say to help back him up? And what's your approach? Is it a bluff? Is it a manipulation?
This guy runs this station. What are we even talking about here? That kind of move.
Boys, I got some bad news. At the end of the day, she's not buying it. You only had 2 successes out of a necessary 3. Mm-hmm. She calls out the goon squad.
All right, so can I ask her, what's the problem?
Yep. So her response, being a bureaucrat and deferring to the authoritarian regime that lurks about Skybottom here. Actually, what is the Imperial's presence here? Because I thought that was very interesting when you're on Rad's show, and you're the only station I know of that has the bad guys on the station. What is that? What's up with that? Yeah,
so the Imperial were the first presence on Skybottom. They claim Skybottom as their own. So there was a conflict with the planet that's okay. So Skybottom is located on the moon of a planet called Sanctuary 10. So Sanctuary 10 it got destroyed. The only thing left was the moon, and Skybottom is the moon. So the Imperial made their base and their presence on there. and then they ended up making it almost like an Imperial base, but a lot of Imperials stayed on there, and a lot of citizens were influenced by the Imperial. So a lot of people that came to Sky Bottom or first heard of Sky Bottom, they always thought it was some type of Imperial location, but they were just the first ones to claim it and name it.
Okay. So do you have? Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
I have questions.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So if it was orbiting a planet, what is this and it's not there anymore, is that a Death Star situation?
Well, technically it's a it's a rogue planet, but it's not really a Death Star situation because they don't really live like.
No, I mean, did the planet get blown up? Is it gone?
Okay. Oh yeah. So what I was trying to explain on the last show with Rad, I'm not sure how I want that situation to happen because I don't want to be cliche and say that they destroyed the planet, like blown it up. But all I know that the planet is inhabitable. There's no more life on there, and they had to relocate to the nearest living place or the nearest, I guess, moon or the nearest location. So they're on. So I'm not sure if the planet's blown up. I'm not sure. I haven't got that deep.
Not having that much of your lore in place is not a problem. The second question.
It's not. So it's actually better. So
it is better.
As a
then you can go, here's a great idea, and use that.
Yes, you can fill those gaps later on. Never rush to fill those gaps.
Because it was attached or orbiting a planet at one time, and it's no longer doing that. Is it like drifting through space, and therefore that's why it's hard to find or something?
It's. I like the idea of it just sitting still. Not moving, just sitting still in space in one location where it's so isolated that there's no sunlight or no light from any star that shines on it.
Which is why it's okay, gotcha. All right,
cool. So no light reflects off of it like a normal moon. It's so distant and isolated that it's just dark. So that's why there's artificial light.
All right, cool. All right, cool. Back in game here.
Those are great. I had the same similar questions, and that especially the storytelling gaps. Leave those gaps. Like go look up the Lazy DM. He tells you like leave gaps because you'll have better ideas way later on and be like and you'll be able to plug it in. Don't pull a Lost and just do seasons upon seasons. But you know what I mean. Like it's good to have those gaps. All right.
Never talk about Lost again, Dom.
Hey, I was a fan up till season 4, man. All right, so let's see. So she calls out the goon squads here. So look,
hey Dom, I know you can leave your camera. I mean, we can see the dice from the top side camera.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah, you can see, especially if we blow it up. Like we can see it. Yeah.
Nobody wants to see my face. So
no one's looking at any of our faces right now.
Now here's the thing. I'm going to get called out by anyone who sees this later on who are Star Wars fans, and they'll be like, "Hey, why are those clone troopers with that Imperial officer?" And I'll be like, "Hey, leave me alone. I like the cool orange Imperial guys, okay? Leave me alone. I know they're clones." All right. So they come strutting up in here, and you're no spring chicken. You've been around the galaxy. You understand what's coming. So either you two can go with these two fine gentlemen here who have their blasters up and ready and are asking you to put your weapons down, or you can flex a little bit of cowboy, I guess, some real power here. What do you want to do here? You want to flex some steel, or do you want to go with these guys quietly?
Sean, I have to tell you something. I'm a real shoot from the hip kind of guy.
I kind of want to flex some steel.
Yeah. All right.
I'm kind of frustrated.
I imagine so.
Now, but the crate's nearest Rick, right? Oh, I lost my pointer pin here. So you guys have the initiative. So one of you two is going to go first, one of you, then one bad guy, then one bad guy. Okay. Don't worry about this Muldoon back here. He doesn't have a weapon. And that guy in the corner here, he has no weapon either. So if you're worried about them, these are the people who currently have weapons here. She may have a blaster on her as well. So one of you is going to go first. You have your dice in front of you. Who's going first?
Sean, why don't you go first because you went first the last round. So we'll just keep that up.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll go first.
Okay. You've got 5 dice. What you doing? Let's pull up your card real quick here so we can see what he's doing, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
What did you say, Dom? Sorry.
Pull up the card, buddy.
Oh, sorry.
Also, don't be a fool. Stay in school. That's what I said.
Sky Bottom. Here's your card, sir.
So 5 dice. You've got Sharpshooter, which allows you to reroll misses when you fire, and then Tough, which adds 2 dice to your defense. So you're always going to roll 3 defense without burning any actions. So you can focus a lot on offense, basically. You have a 10 millimeter pistol, which only does its range and does damage 1, and then you have a med kit. Hint: Joe does not have a med kit on his character. Okay.
So as I see the 2 troopers walking towards us, they see me drawing for a weapon, and they tell me to stop, put my hands right where they could see them. And then I said, I'm just grabbing my identification, and then I just pull out my blaster real quick and just shoot a couple of times, and then I run and slide.
Classic just reaching for my wallet.
All right.
Slide and cover. So shoot.
Hey, look at that guy. He's not even looking at you, Skybottom. He's pointing out the other way.
Oops. Okay, so you want to shoot first. So you have 4 dice. Every shot is 1d6. So you can shoot 1 of those dice. You can blast a whole bunch at them at the same time, right? So you can roll 3 if you wanted to. You need to make sure you save 1 for movement and 1 to try and roll for cover. So
okay, so I wanna use all my dice to shoot, except for the dice to cover. And for my action dice to run to cover. If that makes sense. That's
all right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
You roll a 6 and a 5. That is 2 hits against this goon here. So let's pull up, Joe. Can you pull up
Mulder minion?
No. These aren't minions. These are going to be mercenaries here. I got it real quick here. Okay. So mercenaries. So typically these are melee soldiers, but in this case, because I swapped in for not stormtroopers, that's Lucas property, but we'll say they're shock troopers. They're armed with pistols and laser knives as well. So they have 1d6 attack, and they get +1 to their melee attacks, but they're not coming in close because you shot at them, so they're going to shoot back. So he has only 1 to defend, and you see he has 6 actions, though. So he's going to go ahead, and he's going to burn some of his dice to defend, too. So given that he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dice at his feet here, right, I'm going to burn 2 of these, and he's able to cancel those shots out, and he's able to dodge. So on his next turn, though, he only has 3 dice to use at his disposal. You've got 2 more. You wanted to dodge, you wanted to move and run to cover, right?
Yes.
And you were able to take cover. So now only 5s and 6s will be able to hit you. Okay. Because you missed, this trooper is able to take a reaction now. He has 3 dice. Now that you're behind cover, though, so he's like, he's going to go ahead and try to take the shot, though. Oh. And he's able to hit with a 6. You're lost 1 luck.
Yeah, I'm trying to roll into the middle space there.
Yeah, sorry. I just saw where that ended up in the camera. Okay.
No, that's all right.
So
most of them we've gotten,
So he's down 2. He's only got 2 action remaining. Joe or Rick, you're up. What are you doing, buddy?
All right, Rick. What is he gonna do? Oh, free move.
So the other thing behind this game is too, this is built to be agnostic to any toy you're playing with. 6-inch fantasy sci-fi. So this agility build is the same build we used for Nightcrawler. So rapid attack, except for stabby, I switched that out. Also, I think it's funny that it's stabby.
Well, it's Saint BBY stabby, really. I'm gonna do the rapid attack, so I'm gonna move behind those crates by the lieutenant, and also, shoot twice at the trooper that's You know what? We'll go for the same one that shot at him.
Yeah.
I'm leaving the one that's free to play right now.
So these are the goons. Yeah, okay. So the goons usually have very low health, right? To keep the game moving, they can do as many actions as you, but their health and defense is always very, very low, right? So minions are the worst. They have 1 hit point and they're gone. These guys, they only have 1, but they have a few more action dice. So, okay. All right, you're going to shoot this guy, Joe. What are you shooting with?
Well, I guess I just a pistol. That's all I got, right?
Yep. How many dice do you want to burn on that, though? 2d6?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna do the rapid attack, 2d6.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
move behind
Rapid side.
the lieutenant, rapid attack the guy that's past her. Yeah. Yes, putting her body between me and the other troopers.
1 hit. He's
All
gonna
right.
burn another dice. He's able to block your 1 hit.
Curses. All right, is it still my actions, or is it now their turn?
Yep, you've got 4 more actions, buddy. No, you go until your dice are burned, until you decide not to use any more dice.
Okay. Well, in that case, well, let's shoot at him again twice.
1 hit.
Very good.
And he's hit.
All right.
Go ahead and describe your hit on him. Where do you hit him? What happens?
I was moving too quick before, a couple wild shots, but then after I positioned myself behind those crates, just straight square in the armor.
Nice.
Sky,
Nice shot.
here's something disturbing. When that that shock trooper goes down, his partner beside him shouts out his name, and you recognize the voice inside that helmet. Why does it break your heart when you recognize the voice inside that helmet?
It breaks my heart because that voice in the helmet, it was my brother. And he's one of the people that I left and abandoned when I left Skybottom. And for him to be one of the ones to try to shoot me down and see me as a betrayer got me speechless right now.
Yeah, that's horrifying.
So he sees you behind. I just realized, Joe, that I should have actually taken a turn and not had you go again. But I don't know. We're moving on. I don't know who wrote these rules. So he recognizes that. So he recognizes you, obviously, Sky. He looks at you, and you see that hesitant pause, and then he turns, and he's gonna fire over at Rick. So he's gonna spend some ammo here, buddy. Oh wait, Joe, you have 2 more dice, yeah? You have 2 more actions. I'm sorry.
Well, so can I just save one and point the gun at the lieutenant?
You absolutely could shoot the lieutenant if you want to.
That's what I'm gonna duck behind those crates and just point my pistol at her.
You do not get any cover.
Damn it.
And you miss her too.
I wasn't gonna shoot her.
Oh, you're just pointing at her. I see.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to save that last die for?
Yes, save that last one.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now this dude is going to go, and he's going to dump 3 shots over at you, Joe. For 2 hits. My friend, you have one dice on hold, and you have a natural what for your defense? Pull up your character card.
I have a natural 2.
2. Okay, so he only has 1 hit against you. Or excuse me. What did I say?
Yes,
yeah,
2
hits.
hits.
2 hits against you. So you've got 2 dice, or 2 defense. You could use that 3rd one to help you out if you wanted to. Now, blocks only hit on 5s and 6s. Hits are 4, 5, 6s. So you have 1 less.
All right. Well, I guess roll to defend.
Okay. You're able to block 1. You take 1 hit.
Okay.
Okay, still having 3 action dice left. He decides to just go ahead and fire at you again.
Don't do it.
Only 1 hit. And you're able to block that. All right. So, that's the end of the round. So now we refresh the dice. Sky, you're back up to 5 action. What are you doing?
All right. So I'm still behind cover.
Correct.
And so as the gunfire kind of died down a little bit, I kind of peek over and I see the Imperial officer. I see her trying to reload, but before she gets to reload, I just shoot at her. So I feel like right now we're kind of in the middle of a little battle. So my adrenaline's kind of going. So I see a clean shot behind my cover on the Imperial officer, and I shoot everything at her.
Well, you're not going to shoot at your brother. That's there's
yeah. I'm shooting.
Gotcha.
All right, unloading with 5 dice. Holy crap! That's 4 hits. Bad news bears for her. She's only got 3 dice to roll. So.
So it's great explosive that got smuggled out of my galaxy. Thank you, Rat Toys.
She takes 2 hits. That is all it needs. So go ahead and describe your finishing shot as you take her down.
So as I aim, I take a deep breath and I shoot. I shoot blindly. Take a deep breath and close my eyes and shoot blindly. Those 4 shots was just a blind range shot. And I shot her and I opened my eyes and I see her on the ground. And then I run to my brother.
Oh wait, didn't you use all your dice back?
Oh wait, oh yeah, I can't do that action, right? Oh yeah, okay.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so I see her hit the ground, and then I
brother, stop!
Yeah.
Okay, so seeing his partner dead, seeing the officer dead, and his brother is one of the targets in the room. What is your brother's name?
My brother's name, we'll call him Chip for now.
Chip. Chip is going to leave this fight, but first he's going to take a couple more shots at Rick here. So he's going to fire 2 more. That's 2 shots at you, Rick. Now, Rick, you have 6 dice plus your 2D. This is where you get to decide how much you want to burn to stop those 2 shots. Either go with your free 2D, or add to it.
Why don't we add 2 to it?
Okay.
Just because I'm not behind cover and I could die. And I've already taken hit. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, you blocked that. You actually blocked that just by 2, so you had just enough to be able to block those.
There we go.
All right. Chip fires off that shot, turns, spends a dice, and leaves the area.
By block, you mean I matrixed out of the way? Well, how does
that work? So the reason why it's called luck is that you're not actually taking hits, right? Because taking a shot, you're done, or you're broken. So it's luck. You're burning your luck. Every shot that's like, oof, my luck's running out. And then eventually your luck will run out. So he missed the shot and you dodged it, or you were able to see him and you just ducked down just in time. So that's what it is. So, okay. Gentlemen, the chamber finishes echoing from the last shots from Chip's blaster. Oh, wait, Joe, he missed. You get to take a reaction shot against him. I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
I'm not going to shoot him. I've already heard brothers.
Okay, all right, sorry. You know what's funny? Knowing who you are, I instantly assumed Joe's not going to shoot. So I just skipped that narrative in my head. But yeah, so okay, so Chip is out. The shots echo inside the hangar bay, and then it is dead quiet. Now, Sky,
obviously, at this point, I'm mildly aware that this man is related to Skybottom. So
this is where I'm going to ask you a lore question here, because if there's a gunfight on Skybottom, what's going to happen next? What's the results here?
So there's these station sirens that go off. Like every time there's a gunshot or there's a dead body like discovered, there's these loud sirens that go off around the station, and they go off for about maybe 5 minutes. But then after that, nothing happens. You know, there's no response team. There's no med joys going on. They're just sirens that go off, and they're triggered by loud noises like guns. But it's so common that people just go on about their day, and it's just a natural ambience of sound. So it's like, okay, it's kind of like if you hear a car alarm go off, you're not going to be breaking your neck to see what's going on. It's just, oh, there's a car alarm going off.
Okay, I thought these two dudes were your like pseudo detectives to start investigating the murders that were going on in your station.
Yeah, so Sky Bottom Station, these two, you know, they do investigate. They are new there, but they don't really take the job too serious. You know, that's why the bananas in there.
They just got there.
Yeah, you know, they've only actually been on the station maybe for about, I've only had them for a month. You know what I mean? But this is actually the first situation that's happened on Sky Bottom Station since those two detectives came. So,
no, we're not sure, Timbo. All right, so here's a second question follow-up on that kind of thing. That was an interesting thing you just said. Like, you've only had the toys for a month, so they haven't been on the station for a while. Is that how you kind of like work in new toys? You're just like, they arrived and like they're getting...
Yeah.
Like, a new toy is like a new person arriving at the station.
Exactly.
Or you grab a toy sometimes and go, oh, he's been here the whole time and here's why. He's the bartender. You know?
No, so yeah, so each new toy that I get is a new citizen... As you know what I mean. So when I get like a droid, there's no lore that this droid's been on Sky Bottom for years. This is new, So when I first populated Sky Bottom, my first 3.75 collection were Imperial. So that's why the Imperial were technically my first presence on Sky Bottom.
Okay.
So I had Imperial, and then I started getting like background characters, but my main collection were Imperial. So that's why it just made sense to have Sky Bottom be founded by Imperial, and then it just spread it. So that's why.
Right. So from the Imperial Troopers' perspective, are they like losing control of the station, or is that like where your leadership comes in? You're like friends with them? Are you working with them?
So Sky Bottom citizens and the Imperial, they're neutral. They coexist with each other. The Imperial, they think that they have control and full reign over Sky Bottom. But as Sky Bottom continued to grow and populate, its citizens, ended up growing so large and so big where it had its own community and its own politics, where it ended up running itself, where the Imperial's influence no longer really was dominant on Sky Bottom citizens, because the Imperial, they come and they go. There's a couple of troopers, but when they leave, it's up to the citizens. It's the citizens who are there at night. It's the citizens who run those shops. So it's like politics, like in jails and prisons. Like you see those and guards come. You might be on your best behavior. You might say hi, but when they leave, you go and do your own thing. It's its own community. So the citizens of Sky Bottom, they run Sky Bottom, but the Imperial, they have that kind of cloud over Sky Bottom. Like, okay, yeah, this is technically, they kind of make the rules here, but when they leave, it's up to us. Sky Bottom.
So they're hanging on by a thread, basically. So there's a very delicate balance that's going on there. And as long as it seems like as long as the Imperials don't dig too deep or push too hard, they're able to maintain their limited control over it. Is that right?
Like if we go to war, we're going with the Imperial. You know what I mean? Yeah. We won't go to war with the Imperial unless we start some type of Sky Bottom rebellion. But we need
which will eventually not. I mean, it won't happen.
No, but now that I've returned, or now that Skybottom is back on the station, things are going to change a little bit. Like from that situation that happened like tonight, how that Imperial Guard, try to stop us and kill us because I stepped foot. I know that the Imperial is going to be a problem now. There's been too much. There's going to be a problem with the Imperial. Just know that.
Yeah. So you have this setting of conflict, and you have in war there's always like a status quo and then a rising power kind of thing. So the status quo is the Empire, but they are holding on by a thread, and your rising power are the actual citizens of Skybottom, and the catalyst is you coming back and catalyzing that. It seems like,
right.
That's awesome. Wow, that's a great story. That is a story, right? That is, you have a introduction and a shaking things up and that is great, man. So.
It also lends itself so well to like acquiring new figures and like adding them to your station, and it's sort of a narrative that's fun to do if you're all by yourself.
Yeah,
it's fun. I have a secondary question.
Wait.
Doc and Marty join? And do you consider them Doc and Marty?
Yes, I consider them Dr. Marty, like 100% sure. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So like, I like to think of Skybottom as like this place where anything can exist. I don't like to think. So when I first started building Skybottom, I didn't want it to be in like a set location. I like to think of Skybottom like existing in a parallel universe where everything exists.
Yeah, I get that. I like that.
Where everything just exists, and I kind of got inspired by, like those old paintings. Well, not old paintings, but I've seen like villain paintings where they have all the main villains from like different franchises.
Oh yeah.
Painting, and they're like, they're just all together, or like a classic 80s sci-fi drawing with all the classic 80s sci-fi icons in one picture, and it's like. I just think of like Skybottom existing the way it just exists. So it's like people ask me, well, how do you have Morty and Doc, and you have these characters from Jurassic Park because it just exists like that. Now trying to come up with like lore. So me getting the Back to the Future.
Is that the Playmobil car, by the way?
Yeah. It's the Playmobil car, and it lights up and everything.
That's great. It looks awesome. I was wondering how well it worked. I mean, because I noticed, I think I've got one, but I don't. It was a weird situation. I got it through work, so I don't remember how we bought it. So I don't even remember what product it is. But it's huge. It fits a 3 3/4 figure, but it's really big, and that looks like way more manageable size-wise.
Yeah, this is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that's all. Oh my gosh, look at that! I need to buy that.
That's Playmobil? That's Playmobil?
Yeah, Playmobil, yeah.
Wow, it lights up.
Yeah, so the only thing about it is if you want to fit a custom figure in here, you would have to cut out.
Yeah, I know. Playmobil's feet are so short, but they work closely. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
That's funny because I have a Playmobil on this table. Right here. I love this, whatever this fast track crawler thing is.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's great. So,
yeah, Playmobil is awesome. Like Playmobil, they make things that fit with action figures, like the
portable bathrooms.
And I have these little these scooters right here.
Oh yeah. You've got a picture of those.
Yeah, that's a lot of their accessories and stuff. I mean, like some of them are a little huge for like a G.I. Joe's hand.
You just fudge it in. You just fudge it in.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Playmobil stuff. I have like a smattering of it throughout our collections, me and Dom. But like mostly we stuck with like buildings and stuff because the buildings you can work around. The cars you don't constantly have to cut or get in there and fix it.
But every batch you get, like some of like these cup handles are too gigantic, but these
it works great for this random toy.
Yeah, these plates work perfect. Or I found some of the medieval weapons racks. I took the medieval weapons rack, and now my Joy Toy guys put their hammers in there. So I'm like, this is great. So Playmobil, you just gotta pick and choose it. But that's a good, that's a solid fit there. So, Hey, so that's the end of the game, really. I had more set up because you never know how much is going to go, right? So hold on, let me just show you. Like after the first scenario here, going from here, you could have actually gone into Sky Bottom. We would talk a little bit more of it, but you know what? Instead of actually playing the game, why don't we talk more about Sky Bottom stuff? Oh, also,
you guys, that you built a pseudo Sky Bottom station.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Well, I got stuff, and it gives me a chance to actually play with the toys and everything like that too. So I tried to build something like cafes or whatever, but honestly, like, so I love the storytelling and lore of all, and I said this off screen too, like the station folks, right? Like collecting is awesome and it's fantastic, but what appeals to me most is the imagination and the play, like taking stuff out of the package. Like I made a comment a long time ago, you were looking for some sort of Power of the Force figures, like, oh, I just want a rando to go in the background, and I think it was Pirates of the Galaxy was like, well, I like the characters that aren't really characters, the background characters, because I can import them in. NPCs, like just having NPCs to fill a world that are blank slates to you, and like you said, like these become new citizens. That is like speaks volumes to me, man. Like I love that idea. So on Sky Bottom, then you have this very cool, almost clandestine, with a rise of power of the citizens on there too. But if we were to move from that space dock we're just at right now, what are we being introduced to? And we walk out from the space dock, we're entered into the center of Sky Bottom. What is surrounding us? Like, what is that?
All right, so I like to think of that cliche big city. Like if you step into a big city, you see the flying taxis, you see the people, you see
Fifth Element. Yeah.
So I like to think of Sky Bottom up high, and I like to think of a lot of these taxis that are flying around. So these are our common transportation. They're like Ubers, Lyft, taxis, and they fly you from different docks and different locations around Sky Bottom Station. So you see a lot of those. You see a lot of new faces, you know what I mean? Because I like to have a mixture of characters and people. So if it's your first time on Sky Bottom, you're going to see new species and new alien races and new just everything, new foods. So I put a Motel 6 like right there.
Classy, very classy.
Cheap stay, so when you land on Sky Bottom Station, we want you to stay, or pretty much you're staying. You're not coming and going. So you're either going to check into the Motel 6 or you have your own living residential area here. So right in front of the Motel 6, there's a marketplace where I like to keep all of our main food from throughout the multi-galactic trade route. So I have food from different stations and vending machines and technologies. So our main area I like to have a lot of stuff from other people's stations. It's kind of like our art gallery. You start to see things from Rock Gut. You see things from Aegis Station. You see things from Gimmick Spaceport. You see things from Fatback Station. Everything all together. So it's kind of like a metropolis. And then as you start going down into Sky Bottom Station, that's when you start seeing your smaller local shops. You start seeing your little custom niche droid parts. You start seeing like vintage technology being sold. Just stuff like that. So
you got the top layer with your imports, right? So you get the import layer, and then the next one is all local and everything. That's awesome. I love it. So you have that built in layers physically on the station too, right? That's awesome.
Yeah. So actually, Sky Bottom is built on an old TV stand. So you know how like on the side of the TV stand there's like cubbies for like DVDs and stuff. Yeah. Well, I turned those cubbies into like shops and stuff, but you can't really see them here. But I sent the picture of that little shop that has the toys and stuff. But yeah, that's like our stores and stuff.
Joe, I didn't send that one to you in time. That's my bad. So
yeah,
that's my fault.
It's okay. But that store, that's where we get all of our stuff from the multi-galactic trade route. So you're going to see Game Boys, you're going to see imported stuff from other people's stations, and that's where Sky Bottom's. So everything from the multi-galactic trade route goes through that store. It is called Sean's Load and Blast, and that's the first store that was on Sky Bottom Station.
That's awesome.
And that's how the multi-galactic trade route was born, because Skybottom was so isolated. We needed to branch out. Like, we couldn't survive on our own. So we branched out, and then we found some nearby stations. And the first few stations was Fatback and Gimmick Spaceport. So we started a trade route, and that's how Skybottom was able to be self-efficient, because we established a trade, and we was able to keep growing and living. And then as soon as Skybottom Station became its thing, we started recruiting and finding new people to populate it, to keep it going and stuff like that.
So you've got conversations going in the chat here. It's hard to pick through it, but they're already talking about like, hey, send this person send this character to this station, no, to this station. So that multi-galactic trend route is fascinating because it's a thematic toy collecting group, which is, as far as I know, other than like gaming communities, like actual like gaming communities or tabletop gaming communities, there are very few, I don't think I've seen one. I'm pretty ignorant, so that's not a big surprise. Other toy communities that actually have like a theme around their group, and I think that is awesome. A lot of these people in the chat right now are part of that community too. But you helped foster that, right? You brought that to life, right?
Yeah. So I started the multi-galactic trade route, I would say maybe like 6 months ago. When I started, I think after I built after my YouTube channel, that's when I wanted to really make a real community. So I wanted to build a community with other stations, because I seen other people creating stations on Instagram.
Yeah.
But they never had their own dedicated Instagrams. There was only pictures. So I would reach out and say, hey, would you like to join the multi-galactic trade route, or let them know that I'm putting together this trade route. The only requirement is you have to have your own station and a dedicated Instagram account to your station.
Okay.
So the only reason why I would like people to have their own dedicated account to their own station is because we are role playing. So when people go to their account, it should feel like they're traveling to that station.
Yeah.
Going to so-and-so station, it's only pictures of stations. There's no food. There's no selfies. There's no toy.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You're embracing yourself in that station. So when you see us all come together, it's a bunch of stations. You know what I mean? So a lot of people ended up doing that. So I was okay. Well, so when we first started, there was already like 10 people in there.
Yeah.
And till this day, there's people still making new accounts. So-and-so station, this and that station, and they just want to be part of the multi-galactic trade route. You know, it is the best toy community on the planet, and I appreciate everybody who is part of the multi-galactic trade route. And this is only the beginning.
Yeah, what I love about this so much, though, there's one interesting bit here. By making it a trade route, you're inviting them to make up lore for their own stations to join the group. It's not just build a station and make an Instagram account. You're making them think about what their station can provide that the other stations aren't already doing, or maybe do it differently or better or whatever, kind of thing. But like, you're giving them the opportunity to like get into the lore like right away. Right. And it's such an interesting way that is truly like awesome. Like, it's really like phenomenal. I mean, like, what a simple concept, and yet it translates so well.
The underlying tone of it being a trade route is that everybody is connecting not competitively, right? So they're actually trading and circling things, right? Rather than like a war zone where like, hey, we're cutting lines in this, right? So you could have some sort of antagonistic relationships, but you're right, it's trade, and you symbolize this by actually physically swapping and sending toys or sending pieces. Like Fatback Station was opening up stuff and be like, hey, I got this here, Greeble works and all this stuff. Awesome. Yeah. Like I think that is some of the funnest. So I don't really watch a lot of toy review stuff, but any of those videos, I'm always like, that's really cool. I love seeing the actual people swapping between each other too. Like it reflects in the community. Like, I don't know, it's really neat. So
so Dom has a ship and not a station. What would happen if Dom's massive ship just showed up at Skybottom?
Now how big is it?
So it's taller than my 5-year-old. So it's about 4.5 feet tall by 9.5 feet long. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decks to it. by 9 feet long. So yeah,
it's gigantic.
It's not going to be able to dock on Sky Bottom Station.
No.
No, not dock. Just what if it just appeared
in orbit,
next
like,
to it?
zoom.
What would the response be from Sky Bottom? Yeah, like if this massive thing was like there, Star Destroyer style, like that big, just like.
Dang, like we would actually be spooked for real though, because we would in a ship that big, you know. Well, we would try to
need to ship people to start spicing this up.
Sky Bottom Station doesn't really have a large fleet or a navy, really. We have a small squadron of a few TIE fighter pilots, but your ship, we would actually be scared of it, and we would like actually try to communicate, you know, especially if this is just randomly and you just pop out of nowhere. We're definitely going to try to communicate and see what's going on.
So we've been talking offline too, and so I would never flex that, right? Like, oh, my ship shows up, like screw your station, right?
Oh yeah.
Because I was just
curious.
No, you're right. It's because so I built mine more military mindset rather than like Star Wars mindset. I'm like, oh, I have a nation with an army. It needs to move about, so this ship carries the army about, right? So that's the idea behind it. So, but the next things I want to be able to do, and I've started reaching out to this community too. Is that like, hey, like this game that we played tonight, and you said the same thing too. Like, what if we had a way to like make a game and foster the lore and all that? I'm like, hey, I love designing games, so that was like a test run tonight. Like, hey, this is a very tactical way to do it. We could also do like a political version as well, where the stations, like you are actually representing your station and not just the character too. But another thing that bonds people together, other than trade, which is like mutual interest, right, is a common threat. So the idea of introducing a common threat, I think Rad pointed out, like, oh, what are those aliens in the Star Wars universe that just came in from another galaxy and like messed everybody up?
That's like old school lore and Star Wars.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I know what you're talking about, but I don't know the name of it.
Same idea of like, hey, there's a common enemy that all the stations can like focus on, and they don't have to have a fleet because all of them combined are that protective barrier. You know what I mean? Like, well, I can't do it myself, so I have to lean over left and right. So
are most of the stations set in space like the ship, or some of them on planets? Mine is in space. Dom, your ship sounds like a Death Star.
Star Destroyer. It's actually the Sulaco from Aliens, so if that helps. So
okay.
Wait, so Sean, you were about to say something, I think.
For a common threat, so I kind of started building a Karn swarm with Final Faction figure. And I was thinking it's cheap, it's easy. I was thinking like maybe like a Karn swarm could just be taking over or infecting the multi-galactic trade route, and the fact that they're so widely
interrupting trade.
Like exactly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe that could be because if we had one
breaking into a station. Yeah.
If we had one big boss, then we would have to like send it around, which is totally fine, you know, because you can't rush perfection, because that would be cool though. But for something that we could really just have like almost like an ongoing like pest problem. Oh, the cornerback, you know. If we all just got, you know, bought like 10 Karn, and we could just have like a picture or something, and we could post them around like the same time period. There's a Karn infection going on throughout the multi-galactic trade route.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? Just so we can have some.
Yeah, that's great.
You can organize everyone to be like, hey, show me your Karn attack and what it did to your station or port or
there you go.
Here, and everyone correct me, it's the Yuzane Vong. Yeah, they came in, they were like immune to Jedi powers, like everything. So mine is what's left on a planet. Mine is a planet. Gimmick is a starport. So there's all these different flavors and variety. And then of course you've got Sergeant Slaughterhouse popping in here too. What's up, Zazel? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Zazel.
Just the champ of YouTube channels, really. So speaking of the Karn, my boys and I like playing with the Karn. We use the little guys as shapeshifters. So we're like, whenever we introduce the Karn, there's always like somebody running around as a shapeshifter. That's how they get in first. The shapeshifters just get in, they muck all your systems up. And then I bought this ship.
Oh, that's yeah.
It's a terrible giant ship. It's an awesome fighter though, because this is a perfect fighter size, and you can. I think my boys might have left some. No, they didn't leave anybody in here. But you can put 1 3/4 inch figure in here, and like you just use your brain, like right.
Yeah,
just have to be in the cockpit. So these are our Karn fighters. I got it for like $8 or something crazy.
That is sick for the Karn.
Yes, right. It's very different from anything else, and like so this is our.
I love all those spines coming off the back. Yeah, that's good for a different race. Yeah.
So I'm gonna get one more of these, and that should be good for Karn fighters. But yeah,
is that light up on the back, Dom?
It makes
just
noises.
Bright green paint.
Yeah.
What is that?
It should light up.
Wow,
but I don't.
That's really bright.
I don't think it does. Yeah, no, the batteries came out here, and it can drop bombs from the.
Cool, actually.
Yeah, it can drop bombs from the bottom too. So again, bad big ship, awesome small fighter though. So, So.
Small fighter.
Yeah, very. Yeah, well, because there's no big cockpit.
We're relatively,
yeah. So it's, an X-wing would dwarf it, but this can rival a TIE wing easily. It's bigger than an A-wing, like if they give you scale. So, awesome. Hey, let's look at the. Hold on, you had a cool picture in here that you sent us to.
Oh, we can put some up.
Yeah. Pull one up real quick here that we haven't already seen.
All right, I got this. What do you got?
Oh,
that's his character. Yeah, that one.
There we go. This is kind of like this is what I imagine when when you talk about Skybottom. Like, look at the mix of characters there. You got stormtroopers mixed in there. You've got everything. And now, here's what I want to ask: do you ever take flack from like true Star Wars fans? Because you've got because you got like Darth Maul in the background there. Like, what are some of the comments you get?
People be like, "Do you even watch Star Wars? Do you even know anything about Star Wars?" That doesn't make sense. I have people.
I do, and I don't care. It's your response.
Going to unfollow me. I had someone message me, telling me they're going to unfollow me because I don't know what I'm doing.
Wow.
They said it's cringy. I hate when people mix time periods and time eras.
It's like, who cares, man?
Man, how dare you have fun? How dare you have fun?
How dare you have fun, Sean?
Oh, man.
I do a dumb similar thing with like most of my 7-inch. Like, I just kind of like, it's like He-Man and Thundercats and like all this stuff that I just like have thrown up on this shelf that I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. It's just for me, like, or / my daughter, and we're just like, oh, let's smash all these IP together, but like ultimately, like, it's just to have fun, man. I don't care.
What I do with my toys after I buy them is my business. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Oops, hit the wrong one. So, so I've said this before too, but I've gotten those comments on videos, and I always just say like, thanks for watching. Like, that's always my, all right, thanks for watching. Way to help my algorithm by engaging.
Yeah.
So,
thank you.
What is your next plan for Skybottom here? So you've established this lore. You've obviously got this conflict brewing here. How does it influence the actual build that you're doing next, though?
So I found a dollhouse yesterday, and I'm going to build that. I'm going to paint it and modify it and customize it and make it Skybottom-like. But Skybottom, it's a thriving, ever-going city. So, it's moving on up. You know what I mean? So as far as lore and how things are going with Skybottom, I feel since me personally made my return to Skybottom, I feel like the only step is up. So we're going to continue building. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not everyone knows the reasons why I left Skybottom and what really happened, but I know that I have to make things right again. So I'm going to do the best that I can to keep Skybottom thriving or get things back on the right track. Because right now,
and that means going to thrift stores and getting dollhouses.
Yes, exactly.
No, we were talking before the show. Thrift store buys, when you can grab something that like makes sense and you can like mentally convert it into something that works on your station, it's such a good buy. Like, it's usually like this giant thing for like $2, and you're like,
yeah,
perfect.
Right.
Most of it's built already. I just need to augment it to fit into what I'm doing here. Like, or it fits perfectly on this shelf. It's great, like kind of thing.
Those are my finds is
those
when
are my favorite
things are
finds,
already like mostly built already, that shape that you need it to be, and all you gotta do is just paint it. Is like, that's what I look for.
And then just add little details. Yeah. Just like paint, add details, like
right.
Anything you can do to convert it from a dollhouse into like more of a space station. Yeah.
Right. And like a lot of people don't world build because they feel like they can't, because they've never taken wood cutting classes or wood classes, or they don't know how to paint, or they're not an artist, or they're not a photographer, so they don't do it. So they just buy toys and leave them in the box, or just
just get it and fail up.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of people that are world building now, it's their first time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people that's world building that are talking to me now and sending me their stuff, it's their first project. It's their first custom figure. And they like it because they're like, I did this. I built this. And to them, it's their favorite thing. You know what I mean? And it's their favorite thing because they never knew that they had it inside of them. So now you got people making their first custom, and now they have their own stations. There's a few people that started off with one little object, and now they have their own stations. It's crazy.
It's awesome to see that imagination, that playing with toys, and bringing that childlike love back into it, right? So like, I heard, I don't remember who it is that said this recently, but I latched onto this quote. Like, I bet they'd be more happy with their toys if they actually played with them instead of just open them, complain about them, and put them on a shelf. I'm like, move however you play with them. Find some joy in this hobby. You're spending a side money, right? This is your side money. It's not a need money on, right? So find some freaking joy in there. And you just described joy in finding a thrift find that fits your imagination. Like that's great. That's joy. Like, you probably don't nitpick about like, look at this sculpt. Look at this color doesn't match this, right? Like, you're happy because you have this thing that you get to play with. Like, so
if you get a broken toy with a missing arm, you're just like, well, that guy's missing his arm. Like, as opposed to, you know what I mean? As opposed to being like, how dare it? No.
That's so funny. I had bought this little miniature, right? And when I unboxed it, it was missing an arm, right? And I said the same thing. Well, this one's just missing an arm. So I painted blood in the arm socket.
There you go.
It was a missing arm. And I didn't even get mad. I would just say, okay, this person has an arm missing, But not once was I like, oh man, I got screwed. No, I was just like, having that mindset with world building, there's no such thing as a broken toy. There's no such thing as broken anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, way to make lemonade, man. That's awesome. Yeah. Hey, let me for the chat here real quick here. So like, Skybound, they just get it referring to the people who are just like, hey, you can't mix and match, right? Half the fun is trying to figure out which figures fit into the imaginary playverse. So that's my problem, is that there is no limit to the different toy lines, because like my boys and I were just playing with a mix of Marvel Legends, McFarlane, what else is over there? Dinosaurs. Like, we had this like thing going on where it all made sense. It wasn't just this ridiculous like Toy Story hodgepodge. Like, this all could be a movie right now. Like that is really fun. This is lore. Yep. And whatever supplies I find thrifting, rummaging, flea markets, I need to find some new creatures. So finding monsters or creatures into that is awesome. We started pulling 7-inch figures or even 12-inch figures into our 4-inch figure games because they're awesome beasts.
Larger monsters,
yeah, they're great, man. Rad is always building something, man. Frozen Castle into a Sith fortress. That's awesome. Joe, Jorn just reminded me. Could you close the poll? And
I did.
Oh, okay.
I sent you the results. The results are 55% voted for Bounty Hunter as who's tonight's final boss. Right. The other two came in pretty far behind. Imperial Officer was 27% and Gang Boss was 17%.
Okay, so at the conclusion of this story here, Sky, you ran to an incursion with the Imperials there. I actually have the Bounty Hunter. If you come back and play again, he'll be coming to look for you, right? So Bo Yang is the bounty hunter that is coming. Maybe
he caused this little weird rift with you and your Imperial friends.
Okay.
And then you've got Broken Toys, our free supply. For taking them apart and oh my goodness, yes. So Man, there's a lot more here to catch up to in the chat, but there's just too much. So we're gonna keep rolling on here. We're pushing an hour and 24 minutes. Sean, what is something you've been burning to talk about? We missed something you want to expound on more here.
I just really want to just thank the Multi-Galactic Trade Route because they inspired me. There's times where I get fatigue, world building fatigue, and I don't want to paint. I don't want to do anything. And I go in the Multi-Galactic Trade Route and I see them continuously building and taking pictures and coming up with ideas, sharing what they found at the thrift store. I'm like, you know what? I need to paint. We feed off of each other, and I just wanted to tell everybody.
Great. Motivation's that's an obstacle to get past. That's a hump. Yeah.
It is, because one thing about this hobby, it's so easily to get burnt out, and it's so easily to lose motivation. But we feed off of each other in the Multi-Galactic Trade Route, and I just want to say thank you to everybody. I'm not really in there a lot. I peek in there and I say what's up and I say hi and I know what's going on, but I'm not really that active and talking a lot. But I want to say thank you to everybody, and to everybody who's here right now supporting, who's been on every single live stream that I've been on, that you guys have had me on. Thank you. I appreciate everybody. Thank you guys.
It is a really positive. Like a lot of our followers here, our citizens are the same in that community. They jump over. They like, again, we were talking about this with Eric and Josh and Winslow, like fostering a positive community and holding on to the people who act like there's no toxicity. There hasn't at all tonight been anyone attacking anybody else or saying like you can't do that or anything like that. It's all very positive, and I think it's based around people like you who help foster that too, and then just continue to make those people who say same positive mindsets. Let's just talk. Let's tune out that negative crap. We don't need to bash on Hasbro all the time. Let's have fun and let's talk about the good things that we can squeeze out of this. So yeah, absolutely, man. Joe,
well, I think we won toys.
Tom. I think we won. I
think we won.
We won.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the name of the game actually?
So it doesn't
what's
have
the name of the game.
It is the game.
It doesn't have a name yet. Right now, I've just branded because I've made 5 games. I can't stop, won't stop, Sean. I've made 5 games, so I finally was like, what am I doing? So I merged them together to be like, this is a universal action figure game, and I'm going to come up with another name later on because UAF is not a good name. So or acronym, yeah, terrible, right? So that's all I've has a scripted work in progress name right now, but I don't know what a name is yet. So because it needs to be able to be played with 18-inch sci-fi or 1/18th scale sci-fi, Marvel Legends, Mythic Legions. It has to be able to fit.
Listen, Skybottom, I've got Dom's brain down on. I've whittled his insanity down into 2 rails. It's one's the lore from what we've been playing with toys for like an eternity, and that's called Advent of Cataclysm.
And that's the
other one
scale,
we've
backyard
smashed
battle,
into this game.
Yeah.
And that's what this game is evolving into. Is just like let's take all those ideas and just make it one thing that's more generic. So you could play with Marvel Legends, or you could play it with He-Man, or you could play it with whatever, and it's kind of like less confined, and that's what we're kind of. But what do you call something like that? So that's
the problem is how we start branding. So so that's the idea. With 2 games, this one that we played here is the newest one that I'm merging everything together. So
is this going to be a real game on Kickstarter one day?
So I don't think I'm going to Kickstarter. I think that we're going to skip that. We're going to go once Joe finished the art, we lay out the designs, and I'm still tweaking some rules behind the game here, like mechanics. We're going to put it on Drive-Thru RPG, Amazon, art, whatever else. Yeah, just straight out there. Why mess with all the Kickstarter stuff when there's people who will print and play, right? So that's the route I'm going to go with. It also makes it faster, so you're not waiting a whole year for production or anything like that. It's like, hey, and then releasing new factions or new ideas, right? So just almost like downloadable content or expansions that you see for other games. Like, hey, here's another faction you can add in. Here's some new weapon sets you can add in. So that's the idea.
Okay, yeah, and this is a real game. I didn't mean by it has to be on Kickstarter to be a real game.
No.
But I meant like how
that is not how we took that.
No,
not at all.
The idea of Kickstarter is very intimidating to me. And I don't know. Like I tried to Google like how do Kickstart game, So so I was like, I know how to do this other stuff. So we're gonna go.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
all right.
Yeah. Hey, I hope you had a lot of fun tonight, man. Because that was
thanks for coming on.
You guys on. Yeah.
Scott Bottom.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for everyone who came out, and I think this was such a good show. Actually,
I mean, I think
we're good. That's it. We never need to do another one.
I think this is the last